Potential shift here. Real-time trading in SPY. It is 9:35 a.m. on Monday, March 30th. Nothing of importance happening yet today. Nothing of note. This is a market that could go either way. No big stories, no big catalysts. Let's see what happens. Feeling like a pang of regret for being a system trader right now. Because if I had been like subjective, emotional decision-making trader this morning, I probably would have shorted this open because we opened up like 4 or 5 points in SPY. Why? On no news, no catalyst, and there's nothing but bearish vibes floating out there right now. So I probably would have shorted it. So I'm like sitting here stewing in it, regretting it. Market's down 3 points. I should have caught this move. But let's hope the morning V forms quickly, our bounce back. And then I can get into my system trading, which is when we break the morning V, the top or the bottom of it, that's when I get in. So I took a little feeler short here at around 950. Because we had this little feeler bounce here. And I'm wondering if that's the extent of our morning V today. Some days you just don't get a V, right? You just keep going in one direction. I'm wondering if this is one of those days, if this is the extent of our morning V right here. Kind of feels that way. Trying to figure out what my out is here. Whether I like this play at all, frankly. Because we could definitely rip back higher hard here. And to be honest with you, I'm trying to trade a system, trying to trade a break of the morning V, and I haven't really thought of what I'm going to do on days when there isn't a V. Those can be some of the most lucrative days, when you just blow right through the morning V. You have no V formation. It is just one direction all day. I don't want to miss those days. At the same time, without a clear morning V formation, it's very hard to tell where your entry is. So far, this is looking like a pretty good entry at 950. But I'm worried about it because there was no clear morning V formation. So without that, we could still rip back higher and form a V. Shit. All right, so I'm going to put my stop a little bit above what I decided was the top of the V formation, or at least the bounce of the V. And this is about a $50 loss. That seems about right. You know what? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Control my risk. Now, if we keep moving lower here, I will move this stop even higher, up to here. I have two competing concerns here, is what it comes down to. I think we may have a day where there is no V, where we just go straight down. But if we do have a V, I'm going to be in serious trouble risk-wise. So I have to balance my risk here with the possibility that there may be no V this morning. We just may head down, and that will be that. All right. Yeah. You see this move lower right here? It's almost 10 a.m. This down move keeps advancing. I'm feeling better now that my short purchase here was correct. That this little bounce here did represent sort of the peak of the bounce, the morning V. And that I'm confident enough now to move my stop, my exit, up to the top, up to basically where we opened, significantly higher than before. I want to give this move room to run now. And my other out is 4 o'clock. That's the system. Let's see how it goes. Up $80 right now. So far, okay. So we're getting a little bounce here. I will say there's going to be a little bit more decision making in this system than maybe I'd originally thought. on my second day here using it. And this is a good example of it. Because I had definitely thought the morning V had sort of came and went already. But maybe it didn't. Maybe we're still going to get a V formation. It's only 10:05 a.m. It's still early. I mean, if it was 10:15 a.m., I'd say, all right, we've passed the time. This is definitely a trending downward day. I still think it's a trending downward day. I do. But it's a little early in the day for me to say, oh, well, there's no V here. No V will form. Let's just see what happens. Already committed to a side now. And I feel fairly confident in my read that this was the V. Really questioning myself here. How committed am I to this position? How committed am I to this system, you know? Especially when I have a fringe case like today, where a traditional, easy to read morning V did not form. Mind you, the morning V and a pretty clear to read one does form the majority of days. I'm not going to say all days or 90% of days. I'm just going to say most days you get a clear V shape in the morning to play for a breakout one way or another. And this just isn't one of those days. And I just hadn't thought about how I'm going to play those days. Just questioning myself, that's all. And reaffirming that I'm sticking to the system. I'm not going to start making emotional decisions. Because there's a big part of me that wants to just exit this right now and wait for something clearer. You know what? I feel good about this trade. I do. I'm going to say that. It's now 10:10 a.m. If there was going to be a clear morning V-shape form, it would have formed by now. What's happening down here, this is not morning V anymore. We've passed the point where a morning V should have formed. This is a system trade. Even if it doesn't work, it's still a system trade at least. All right? It's not like I jumped the gun. There's just not going to be a clear morning V shape today because we're just moving lower. We moved lower too quickly and never bounced. And that's an even more bearish sign than a morning V and then a break lower. Yeah, I would say this is even more bearish. The only catch is there's just so much news and headlines out there, and Powell is speaking. You know, there could be catalysts floating around out there that I'm unaware of that are moving things. But generally, I like my play. Even if it turns out wrong, I like the read. So it's 3:30 p.m. I'm up $350 on the day. Happy about that, obviously. And we're also basically at 6:30 exactly on SPY. So it's 3:30 p.m. You know, should I exit here? You know, the system says hold until 4 o'clock. That's what the system says. You hold all day. But, you know, I'm up now I'm up $370. Actually, it is kind of dropping below 6:30 now, so maybe it was a good idea to hold. You know, but these are like the little vagaries around the fringes of the system, right? So you have a system that says, okay, when you break out in one direction, you either get long or you get short. And you exit at 4. That's it. End of day is the exit. But I'm really tempted to exit here. I mean, we're at a resistance level. I'm up quite a bit. Why not just take the money here? I don't know. Am I sticking to a system to the T, or am I putting just a little bit of my own judgment in there, just around the edges? That's the question. So I think I've decided. this is what I'm going to do. So how I'm solving this dilemma of whether I exit here or not at 330 and at a resistance level is I put a stop in right at the top of this bounce here. This bounce that occurred a few minutes ago. If we bounce back above that, to me, that's a structure break, right? And I don't want any piece of that. If we bounce back above that, that to me says we are going to start reclaiming some of the losses today. And I'll take my winnings right here. But on the other hand, I'm going to try and keep holding in case this down move wants to continue for the last half an hour. Bam. We just hit it. Just hit the out. You see this strong up move. It went and broke level right there. So I'm locking in my gains for today at $310.25. Not bad. Good day, right? Not quite as good as 350 or maybe 370, what I was at my peak. Now, hopefully this wasn't just the algos being smart and sort of stop hunting people like me out of this trade. I don't think it is, because usually late in the day like this, you get less and less of those sort of tricky maneuvers, you know? You get a lot of tricky algo stuff earlier in the day, or especially during lunchtime. Late in the day, you don't get the algos being fancy. You get volatility. You get a lot of volatility, but usually that volatility is somewhat honest, because especially this late in the day at 340, it's just institutional buying or selling, and they're trying to position for tomorrow. They're not trying to fake people out or juke people. Let's see how the day ends, because maybe I should have held through it. 3:58 p.m., and I'm glad I exited when I did at 3:30 or 3:35, whatever it was. I am up $310 for the day. Obviously, I'm happy about that. That's 2 days in a row of big gains, really sort of proving the system, has some teeth to it. But the real test has not come yet. The real test is the losing days, and we haven't had a real losing day yet. I mean, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? So let's not get too excited yet, but I'm happy. We've got 2 big winning days in a row. That's great. Let's see how it goes, right? So far we've had 2 good days. That's a small sample set. I'm still tweaking things, obviously. There's still a few decision points that I have to decide, am I going to keep these decision points or get rid of them? And, I'm still making the shift. I'm still making the shift from a subjective, decision-based, emotional trader to a systems-based trader. And there's going to be some bumps along the way, and I haven't encountered them yet. Let's see how we do when we hit those bumps. All right, guys. Remember, stop trying to pick winners. Start trying to be a winner. Good luck.